So we're going to start with a little centering. We'll start with our shaking because I always like that, especially when I do things at the end of the day to just get all of that stuff that we've been talking about that's been happening in our day, all that busyness, everything out. Go ahead and shake the legs. Make sure you get down to the feet. You can even like tap the feet. So in terms of self-care, if you have only a minute, you can do this kind of minute shake and then come to stillness and allow yourself to start to settle down. Close your eyes, allow yourself to go within and be open and receptive to connecting with yourself from a deeper place. Allowing yourself to just feel the little bit of energetic vibration that you've created by that shaking, the life force energy. And start to bring more life force energy into your body through your breath. Starting to deepen your inhalations and your exhalations. And as you inhale, breathe and feel the breath coming in through the crown of the head. Allow it to bathe the mind, coming down into the heart, coming down into the core of you. And then as you exhale, allow it to shoot down the legs, down the calves, down through the soles of the feet, all the way to the center of the earth. Allow it to connect you with this energy of Mother Earth, which is very nurturing, very nourishing, very all-providing. And then take another deep breath in, and once again, bring the energy in from above, allowing it to wash and flow down from the crown, all the way down through the mind, the heart, the core. And this time, extend the energy all the way out 360 degrees to the edges of the room, expanding and connecting you not only to yourself, but to that higher power of life. Knowing that the universe is always supporting you, it is supporting your transformation. And then one more time, let's take another deep breath in. So we're breathing deep, we're breathing wide, and this time allow it to wash down the mind, the heart, the core, and extend it out to all your field of support, all those in your life who have supported you in any given phase of your life, and to each other for the support that were given to us in this soul circle, and to me, a guide, an empowerer, helping you transform from chrysalis into the butterfly. And from this place of feeling empowered as a beautiful butterfly, bring to mind like a time in your life when you felt the most you, the most alive. It might have been playing with your children. It might have been doing a presentation. It might have been being in nature. Whatever it is that makes you feel the most you, most alive. And bring this empowered version of you into our session today. So welcome, welcome, welcome as you gently come back and open your eyes. And I'm going to start the PowerPoint. We do have a PowerPoint, so I will share my screen. Just give me a moment to get that all coordinated. Okay, and just to make sure you can see day 3. Okay, very good. So coming back to our vision of what it is that we're creating with this collective energy of our sister circle here. And we are imagining that, yes, there is a world where we women are pouring from a cup. It's overflowing from self-care and self-love and self-trust. We're feeling energetically healthy and happy. And yes, we're stepping out. We're making our true impact in that world, whatever it is, as the leaders that we are stepping into a phenomenon of what I call true success. And just to remind us that as we are creating this vision for ourselves as a collective, we're also working on what I call the triple A's. So we are going from ordinary awareness about what it is that we really want out of life that's going to give us the health and vitality and happiness and true success that we're looking at, and what's blocking us. We're looking at taking simple actions so that we can go from retaining only 10% to really integrating it and embodying it. So it actually becomes a way of life. It's going even beyond that 80%. And then we're working to kickstart an aligned path for ourselves. So in this week, we are learning the path, and we are going to start to take an action towards that path. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that towards the end of today's session. So every day, we're doing one step on my 4 magic pillars pathway. And so yesterday, we focused on healing the body. So we've looked at alignment and what does it take to be aligned, and what does it mean to be aligned? And we've gained some awareness as to where we are out of alignment. One of those areas for many of us has been the body. So we focused on that yesterday. And today is a bonus day, because this is, to me, the crux behind what is causing that unhealthiness that we sometimes feel, or that unhappiness that we're sometimes experiencing. This day reveals all of that. So I went through that. So just raise your hand, give some engagement. We're going to use the chat a lot today. And then I'm also going to open it up for some sharing. But when you did that assessment, and if there was nobody, if somebody here was not here on day 1, we looked at 7 major areas. So if you look at your life and you look at your work situation and you look at health, are those 2 of the 7 areas that you would have been seeking more alignment? When I asked, do you want a 10? Were those 2 of the areas that came to mind? Right? So you can kind of put yes, no in the chat. And can you relate to that concept that I raised before about the stress to success cycle? That pathway, it's like a vicious cycle, where we have a goal, we have something that we want, and we're taught to push, 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 and work really, really, really hard to get there, and we're sacrificing ourselves. We get there, we have a moment of happiness, and then all of a sudden it's, what's the next thing? And we find ourselves in that same pathway again. And we do it over and over and over until ultimately our body, our life starts to speak to us. So if you're ready to get off the stress to success cycle and get out of that rat race, today's for you. Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
raised
today
my
I
hand.
mentioned we're going to be looking at what is the big elephant in the room. And yesterday I heard a lot about, what are the things that kind of block us when we say we want our health to be our foundation. We believe in that. Sue, do you have a question, or you just
No,
kind of
you said
on the
raise your
fly?
hand, so I'll take
Okay,
it.
so it is still up there. Thank you.
Sorry.
You're doing great. So we talked about health, and when we say we believe that health is our foundation, and then we looked at, do we act inconsistently of that, or where do we act inconsistent with that belief? And we saw we act inconsistently with the way we eat, with the way that we're sleeping, with our exercise, we try to be good all day, and then we have the nighttime snacking, we fall off the wheel. And what's driving all of that? What is driving us to not be able to be consistent in our habits, in our actions, when we know that we want to be healthy when we know we want our health to be a foundation, right? So what I've discovered from my own experience, from working with every single woman that's come to see me for a health challenge, and from research that's been done by Dr. Claire Zammit, who's done 25 years of research in the area of women and this concept of how to help women self-actualize into their fullest potential, that a lot of what's driving us is what we believe about success. And that's why in this concept of alignment that we're talking about today, I wanted to raise this. So let me ask you, what do you believe about success, right? What have you been taught about this concept of success? So you can write in the chat, and if you want to talk, you can raise your hand. Let's see.
Jennifer says it's all or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, do you mean, Jennifer, like we're either successful or we're not? Or do you want to tell you a little more?
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Either you put in all your effort or you're not successful.
Ah, yeah, you've got to put all your effort in, like 100% of your effort to be successful, right? You have to work hard to be successful. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And I saw Wanda, you have your hand up.
I do, and I'm in the car now, just leaving work. But you just said it, working hard,
Mm.
to get to the top and to have the material things to indicate your success. And, that's what I've always thought about, and having a certain amount of money in bank accounts and any, of investments. And now I'm seeing that differently. And one is where my happiness is. Sometimes you can make all the money and have all the material things, but you're not happy.
I love that. I love that. And that's exactly who I have been catering to, because I just noticed with every woman that came to see me for a health challenge, like they had a level of success on the outside, but on the inside, they did not feel that at all, right? They didn't feel that happiness. So I love that you have shared that you had this concept of success, that it was all about making the money, but now it's started to transform. Now you're starting to see differently. So beautiful. And Paula is saying, I can see that if she achieves success, yeah, that it's kind of illusory. If you get it, then somebody's going to take it, right? You definitely feel that when you're in like a corporate experience for sure. Like, like you never, and job security anywhere. Yeah, fearful about keeping any success that you've achieved. Yeah, like it'll slip away. It's kind of amorphous because it's a thing to achieve. We haven't really embodied it. Wow, beautiful. I love those definitions of success. So we're going to talk some more about this, because really does become the root cause of our misalignments. What is our belief system about that? And what have you been taught? Here's another variation of it about being a successful woman. Right? So it's not just success, but success as a woman. Yeah. I'd love to hear. Let's see some thoughts on that.
Jennifer is saying that she thinks that women can't necessarily be successful. And Paula's saying that I'm a bitch and a man helped me get where I am.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's
really interesting, Paula, when you say that you're a bitch, that tells me that you're a highly successful woman. That tells me that you're in a place of power.
Yes.
Why do I feel that way?
And that's something that we call a power paradox, right? Where women become successful, but then it's like a paradox because they're considered to be, they can exhibit the same actions or less actions that a man does, or mindset or behavior, but they're considered to be a bitch. They're considered to be over aggressive. They're considered not to be feminine anymore with that. So yeah, I get that. I get that.
And I'm going
Wow.
to project on my part here. I feel like if you're a mom, you can't be a good mom and have a career. You can't be good at both.
Mm. And that's I'm so glad you raised that, Sonia. Yeah, because that goes to the expectation that I think many that's embedded in many women, that you do have to be able to do both. Right? That we do have to be successful in the workplace and at home. And I see some more comments coming in. So do you want to read some of those?
Sure, Jennifer was just saying it's interesting because the company that she works for is mainly ran by women, and 90% of the employees are women too.
Ooh, very interesting. And so what is that environment like for you? Do you feel like it's a positive environment? Is it an enhancing environment, or is it like women striving to be like men?
I think it's a positive because my company is very much for the employees and they'll do whatever to like help you succeed. And I feel like you don't see that a lot in like the corporate world.
Yeah, exactly. And there is, because there's a certain way of being that's more inherent in women. And it is a way of being that is more about relating, it's more about connecting, it's more about supporting, it's more about nurturing. I believe that's why the Dalai Lama says that this world would be more peaceful and compassionate if there were more women leaders, right? We have some natural qualities of us. So yeah, so we've been taught some things. And who remembers this commercial? Some of you are maybe too young, but this was actually a commercial, and I don't even remember what it was a commercial for, but it had a cute little jingle, and it was like, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and blah, 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 and there's something about being a man. But you can see the image of her, like she's all dressed up. She has her apron on, but she's got her heels on. She got an impeccable hairdo, the makeup, and she's ready to cook the food and then, put on the fishnet stockings and then do up her man. So we have these definitions that we've been taught, right? Like where do they come from? The media,
Media is big, yeah.
yeah, media, even parents, like our parents, they come, a lot of these definitions come from our parents. Like, we as women, like even me, even though they wanted me to have a career and be able to take advantage of opportunities that they weren't able to take advantage of, they still wanted me to be able to do things around the house. And I remember I used to tell my mother, I don't need to learn to cook. I'm not going to be a housewife. Right? Now I cook a whole lot. I'm not a housewife, but I cook a whole lot. Right? So yeah, so we have these definitions. And another aspect of success, like this concept of American dream, like where does that come from? Right? Our culture. So embedded. So we're taught these things. We're taught by our culture. We're taught by parents. We're taught by the school systems that we're in. We're taught by a lot of the workplaces that we're in. When you think about the American dream, what does that mean to you?
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, Patsy grew up in the era, the era of that commercial, right?
Right.
Yeah. Paula came here, immigrants came here. They wanted this experience of the American dream. Yeah, Rose Jane says she's English, so she did not have this, right? But it's the dream of being like that you have to, oops, that you have to work hard. It's the dream that you have to do better than your parents, that you have to sacrifice. It's even the dream, like for women, that you have to be better than men.
Oh, yeah.
And for women of color, it's even more so that you have to be better, right? And it creates that expectation of perfection and that expectation that our self-worth often gets tied to, right? 12-hour days are the norm in the man's world. Like I remember when I started working as an attorney, I actually felt like, oh, I had to go and get certain types of suits so I could blend in with the men, right? We did that in corporate America. And you had to be there a certain number of days. And, you couldn't, anything that was, when you were on your cycle, you still had to act like everything was like normal. It was normal, but everything was like it would have been. So we have these images of success, these beliefs about success that cause us to really sacrifice, right? And so looking at yourself and looking at these concepts that are out there by society, by culture, by our parents, embedded in ourselves, what's the success that you have been striving for before you say are, have been striving for? Like I know for me, I shared with you that prior to what I'm doing now, I was a corporate attorney. And to me, being an attorney, having certain evidences, a house in the right neighborhood, having a nice car, those things epitomize success, having a 401k. And so by those standards, I did think that I was successful, but very unhappy. So I'd love to hear what's been the success. Women dress for success was wearing a man's suit for sure. Being able to provide for your family, yes, that's a sign of success, often debt-free. Having lots of memories with my kids, taking them on vacations and hikes. Yeah, that's an expanded definition of success. Sue was striving for a large retirement. Yeah, how many people were driven by a number? Right? Oh, I want to be 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. So, and this definition of success, it's so embedded on us. And I want to share that even for me, and part of the reason that this is part of my messaging is because whenever I share, there's so many women who can resonate with me. So at first I thought, okay, I was breaking the stress for success cycle when I left corporate America. It was all about, okay, I just need to get out of this corporate environment and I will be free and I'll be a whole different person. And so I did. So I left. I went back to school. This was after I had those health challenges, and it was part of my healing and my education as to what I needed to do to heal myself. And I did go back and I got 3 masters. So talk about the high standards. They were all in the areas of health and wellness and therapeutic health coaching and therapeutic herbalism. And I actually succeeded in starting a nutrition practice at a state-of-the-art integrative health center. And I felt like, wow, this is success. I'm over 50 and I got hired in this state-of-the-art new center and I'm building the practice there. And I had built up while I was there a successful following. And then I left to go and become an entrepreneur. And I was pushing it and I was gaining clients and I was reaching a certain dollar threshold. And then everything crashed. And I realized that I wasn't inspired anymore. And when I looked after months and months and months of searching, what's the root cause of it? It came back to the definition of success. That I, as an entrepreneur who had chosen to leave corporate America and recreate my life, was still subject to this definition that said, I need to make a certain amount of money to be worthy. To be worthy, right? And I wasn't feeling worthy. So I was being pushed by this belief that worthiness to me was tied to a certain number, worthiness of success, right? So who else has experienced something like that, where you feel like the actions that you're taking to be successful are coming from a sense of being pushed by an expectation that you may have? Anybody feel like pushed by an expectation? Pushed by, yeah. Pushed by somebody in your family? Husbands?
Yeah.
Parents? The belief that I have to be the good girl in the family and do what is expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how does it make you feel? Yeah, Sue?
I just wanted to say I was in Silicon Valley when I was in my early 20s to 30s. And there was such a pressure to work as many hours as you possibly could. And if your car wasn't seen in the parking lot on Saturdays and Sundays, then you were kind of looked down upon and, measured differently. And it was sort of like the wrong thing. If you were going to take care of yourself, that would be looked down upon because you should be working. It was so intense in tech. It was just ridiculous.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's exactly how it was in my corporate experience as well. Um, it was there were days when I was coming home at 2 in the morning and then had to be back there at like 6 or 7 in the morning to meet certain deadlines because it was expected. You were not missing any deadline at all. Right? Yeah, and people would look like they were like, "Ooh, Zana, you're a senior business counsel at General Electric Company," and it would be lots of oohs and ahs. But to me, it was a very pressured feeling, right? And it made me feel like disempowered, not empowered.
I'm going to ask a weighted question here, Zana, quick then too.
Yeah.
So you made it to the top. You're at the top. You're doing all the things that everybody's like, wow, look at her. How did you feel once you got there? Were you happy in that spot or were you miserable?
Well, that's where my little phrase, successful on the outside, but you don't feel it on the inside, comes from, because that's exactly how I felt. I was there, but I was definitely unhappy. I felt like I did not have a life, right? Like this, I even said to myself, and I saw in a journal where I wrote, is this really what success is all about? Right? You don't really have any time to experience, to enjoy it, right? Great question there, Sonia. So yeah, so you get pushed by fear, right? Fear of not succeeding, trying to keep up with what's called the Joneses. That's like keeping up with expectations, those kinds of the same things, right? You need to have the car, the boat, the house, the vacations. Where are you going on vacation this year? And, I talked about how society's definition kind of, it's expected of us, and we have our own kind of beliefs, like my belief of my worthiness is tied to credentials, right? My worthiness is tied to earning a certain amount of money. So when we're pushed by all of these things, what I discovered and what women have shared for me is that you never are there, you're never present. You're always chasing, and that chasing feeling, being on that vicious cycle of stress to success, just generates a sense of depletion, and you don't feel motivated. And 75% of women are on some kind of antidepressant or anti-anxiety or some kind of stress relief, right? Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Where's that coming from? The stress that's on our heart, right? When women are feeling that life is hard, what are we reaching for? What did so many women share yesterday? Food. They're reaching for food, for comfort, right? How many of you reach for food for comfort, right? When things become too much. Yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah. And, when we get to the wrong foods, when we eat the wrong foods, oops, let me go back over there. So when we eat the wrong foods, then that's what leads to, I don't call it disease, I call it dis-ease. It's a discomfort in ourselves, and then it starts to show up in our bodies. So the women that come to me, they're generally coming for things that are related to their metabolic functioning. So that's anywhere from excess weight, hormone imbalances, thyroid imbalances, blood sugar, cholesterol, inflammation is a big one, gut health is a big one. And more are coming to me now because they're starting to sense things with their memory. And it's an inflammatory condition. They actually call Alzheimer's diabetes type 3, right? So, and a lot of it is coming from this pattern of being in what I call the masculine paradigm of success, very achievement driven, oriented achievement. So what has this led to? And I'm painting a picture. We're not going to stay in this picture, but it's to get us thinking about this concept of how important are these beliefs that are running in the background of us, that are driving our behaviors that we're not even aware of, that are then driving our habits that are causing us to sacrifice ourselves, put ourselves on the back burner, overeat because we're stressed, right? So we've seen this in the past couple of years, 45 years, that the real pandemic is what's really happening in the workplace, that there's been that quiet resignation of women. There's been so many women who are just moving out of corporate America. They're coming into entrepreneurialism. And as a coach, I've been getting more and more women who come to me for my Dream Builder program because they want to do their own business. But what I've discovered is that if you don't shift those underlying beliefs, just like me, you bring them into your entrepreneurial escape, right? That was your escape, but you're bringing them in there. Mm-hmm. So the key in all of this is it isn't our fault. It is not our fault. When women are feeling this discomfort within themselves, the anxiety, the depression, the aloneness, the self-worth doubt that's leading them to then reach for certain foods, do certain habits that they know are sacrificing their health and happiness. No, that's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's really a result of all of this underlying stuff that's coming from our society, that's coming from how we were raised. There's no good or bad about it. It's just a fact that it's there. And once we're aware of it, then we can do something about it. We can be a choice, right? And that's why awareness was the number one intention here, because when we expand our awareness, like when we leave this 5-day challenge, and we can look at, yeah, what is causing me to feel the way that I've been feeling? And you can now pinpoint it to some different occurrences than you could before. And then it makes you feel like, yeah, maybe there is a more aligned way to be. Maybe I can go from the 7 to the 10, or the 3 to the 10, or it's a lot of 5s to the 10 when we did the rating. So I love this little quote here, like, I honor the clarity of the present moment and the stillness at the center of being, even in the midst of so much doing. Can we find our presence in the midst of doing? How do we find that? So one way is to be pulled by a vision, right? So a vision is different than a goal or a resolution, because a vision is all encompassing. How many people have ever done a vision board? And how did it make you feel to do the vision board? Sue?
I felt fabulous. I loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was just fun to put it all together.
Yeah. And what made it fun?
Just the brainstorming and the creativity, and I felt like it was in arts and crafts, but it was a really important mission. Um,
Yeah.
Made it fun. It just made the whole process really fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's fun because it's coming more from the heart and the soul, right?
Yes, exactly right.
Mhm. And our goals, where do those tend to come from?
The goals?
Yeah. Like when we tend to set goals, do they tend to come from heart and soul, or
No,
do they
the
come
mind. They come from the mind.
from the mind?
Yeah.
And do they tend to come from that part of us that is striving for success? Like achievement oriented.
Yes, just a very kind of a brute force,
Mhm.
get it done and get to your vision so that you can, measure up whatever you're measuring yourself against.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I agree with that, and I love that, because I found that from, like, goals are very linear, they're very logical, they're very achievement oriented. There's something that we learn in this society, right? Because we have, and it's a very kind of masculine way of accomplishing things, right? But what happens is that for women, goals, we have trouble reaching a lot of goals. Like, most women are not very goal oriented. Like, we set goals, but then we have difficulty really achieving goals, because women are more heart centered. Women are more soul centered. And we like fluffy goals. We like flexibility around our goals, don't we? And so a vision encompasses more of that. And we do feel like what I've put on here, you do feel more inspired and soul aligned, and it gives your life meaning. And so I've found in my work that when women set a vision, and there's specific ways that you set a vision, and it brings in all of the creativity and heart-centeredness that Sue was speaking of. But when we do that, it pulls us forward instead of pushing. And women who are dealing with health challenges, when they're being pulled by a vision, they're able to accelerate their process and make their progress more sustainable, way more than the women that come to me and they've been for years trying to set a goal to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 15 pounds, right? So a vision pulls you forward. So what would it feel like to you if you were being pulled forward, inspired forward, as opposed to being pushed by expectations or fear? What could that make possible even in your health goals? Right? Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear. Wonderful. You could achieve what you wanted to achieve. Yeah. It's a different way of looking at things, right? And it's a little more aligned with how we are as women. So what if you could create this future, and a future that's based on focusing on you first? Right? So we as women, as we're striving to achieve our goals, as we're striving to achieve success by this kind of masculine paradigm of success, masculine definition of success, we've tended to sacrifice ourselves, right? We tended to kind of put ourselves on the back burner because we're taught that we should always do for others first. Right? How many of you have been taught that? Yeah, I see the hands going up. It's hard. And for those who are moms, definitely, it's like, yes, of course, I'm going to put my child first above me. But what do they say on the airplanes? They say that we should put on the mask first. And then you have what it takes, some oxygen in that case, to take care of others, right? So it's the same message in this new, more feminine paradigm of success that's about connection, that's about coming from the heart and soul, that's about support, and it's more relational. Being able to care for ourselves so that we can then care for others more is a key part of that. So what would it be like if you could care for yourself first? Yep, joyful, less win-lose feeling, more in control, effortless. I love that. So what if you did have the energy, vitality, a body that's more flexible and free and moves the way that you want it to, and you're working in a way that's putting your well-being first, and you have support to make this all happen? What would life be like if you could operate from this vision? Yeah. Started to see. Be the mom that you want to be, amazing, sheer joy, more self-love, happy. Yeah. It is possible. It is possible. And if you're being pulled, life feels easy, right? Because you will start feeling more aligned in all the areas that matter to you. You don't have to be aligned in all 7 of those areas. And as I said, it's not pie in the sky. You're never going to feel aligned in all 7 areas at the same time. And you're never going to stay fully aligned in your life. Our evolution goes like this, like waves, but it's constantly increasing, right? And our goal with alignment is to be able to recognize when you're out of alignment, that expanded awareness, come back to center quicker, and stay in center longer, but not to always be in center, right? So if you're being pulled by feeling aligned in all these areas that matter to you, and we have a healthy body as a foundation, and we're operating from our own vision of success, then yeah, life does feel easy, right? Life does feel easy, but it's a multi-pronged approach. And so I want you to tap in for a moment to this vision that would pull you forward, right? It's kind of a new concept I'm throwing out here, being pulled by something that's inspiring to you as opposed to being pushed by expectations and fear. What would you love? What would you love? And think about it for today's purpose. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to just kind of stream brain of consciousness, streaming out what it is that you would love for your career, for your life, for your health. You can pick any of those, whatever comes to you. And notice in your head, are you saying, I would love this? Or are you saying, I would like this? Oh, this could be good. Are we talking ourselves down just by the way you read these words? What would you love? I find so many of us do. It's very hard. It's one of the advantages of this women-centered coaching model that I've been exposed to and getting trained in this year, is that women have an ability to see only about 50% of possibilities of what's possible for us as men do. Like about 50%. Like, so when we vision small. We vision based on what do we think is doable, possible, what would I like? Whereas men dream the world. So for the next 2 minutes, allowing yourself to gain clarity. And I'm going to take you into a little centering to do that, because clarity is power, and I want this clarity to come from your heart and soul. So close your eyes for just a minute. Connect to your breath. Connect to that presence from the brain to the heart to the core, plugging down into the earth, plugging out to the edges of the room, connecting to that power, your highest power. It's a part of you. You are a part of it. Connecting to each other and connecting to the most empowered version of you. That brilliant version of you that shows up when she's doing something that she loves. And from that place, now open your eyes and write, what would you love for your health, for your life? And this is just a start. In the work that I do, we take this to a much deeper level. Just take another minute and just whatever the stream of consciousness that's coming to you. Starting to bring it to a close. And just kind of put out in the chat, like what's some of the stuff that's coming up, bubbling up as to what you would love your health, your life to look like. And who would like to share something? To be able to write more, to be able to have space in your life for drawing, to design some products, some sellable products, cool. Be more active with your son, cool. Tied to what you're deserving. Does anybody have something that came up that you never really thought of before, but it kind of popped in your head? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that happens to me. Present yourself as the person I really feel like every day, a nice outfit, hair okay, medium heel pump, smiling, energetic. Woo, look at that. I love that. To be comfortable with who I am. Yeah. Beautiful. When I did this, I did a 2-minute exercise, the same thing. I did 2-minute exercise. And out of that, it came out that I wanted to write a book. And it's a book called What's Right in This World. And it's a book about women and women who are like change makers, women who have been successful out there making a difference for others, who elevated their work in the world even more once they started focusing on their own self-care. Once they started prioritizing themselves. So you never know what comes out of just 2 minutes. So I love this. Better health, energy, joy, sense of peace, being fully present. All of these, beautiful. And we got some hearts going up there. So I love that. So I'm going to transition. And can you see that when you really focus on the elements that we've talked about, I'm going to weave the 3 days that we've had so far together. When we're healing the body and that becomes our foundation, and we're aligning to our soul and hearing what it is we really want in those 7 key areas of life. And then we're looking at this concept of success and how much this old American dream expected way of success drives us and drives the sacrifice that we're making. And we take that and we redefine it. And we do it in a way that includes us, includes our well-being. That can create this aligned path to health and happiness and true success that you came to this challenge to learn. Can you see what's possible from there? So what I've discovered is that it requires a holistic system. And this is kind of what I've shared with you earlier this week, but I like it in this pyramid because Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a pyramid. And on the bottom, he has like, what is important for us to be able to just survive, right? And to survive, we need to have the strength, the resilience, the aliveness in our body. So I say healing the body, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have some medical condition that you have to heal, but it's nourishing the body, it's nurturing the body, it's optimizing the body. That is our foundation. And then when we combine that with what we're going to talk about tomorrow and what I kind of laid the framework are, looking at those beliefs that kind of sap our energy and learning how to shift those beliefs into beliefs that are going to be more empowering of this vision that we want to create. And we have a vision that's coming from our soul. And we're stepping into leading from within, self-leadership, tapping into that intuition, that inner wisdom that when we have. And when you put this all together in a holistic, integrated system, to me, that's when the magic happens, right? So it's all aligned. And what I found on my journey is that it took me 10 to 15 years after I left corporate America to really, when I felt in my heart that I had reached this soul aligned success that I talk about. And it was because I didn't do it in a holistic, integrative manner. I did it kind of linearly, like, okay, I got to work on my body. So I went to nutrition school to learn about food and food as medicine. And I learned that, and my health started to improve somewhat, but I still had high blood pressure. I still had pre-diabetes, even with the nutrition. So it wasn't enough. So then I learned, oh, okay, I need to start doing more spiritual work. I need to get in touch with my soul. And I expanded my spirituality, which had always been a big fundamental part of my life, but I expanded it. And then I was like, okay, but I still am unhappy. I still have some of these health challenges. So then I started learning about mindset work and shifting your beliefs. And that started to shift things, but it's only with the integration of all of them that then I noticed like my blood pressure went down, my blood sugar was normal. The inflammation that I had started to feel in my body had gone away. My weight was more even, more consistently without my being able to do anything. I felt happier, I felt more joy, and I was way more creative, right? And these visions that I have for a movement where women are pouring from a cup that's overflowing. And we are feeling healthy and happy, and we are being creative leaders in this world. All of this has come out of my living this. And this is what I share with my clients, right? But it starts right at the foundation of healing the body. So I just want to share with you an opportunity that if it resonates for you, then this is a way that you can jumpstart. And that's why this is called a Kickstart, because this is a program that really does help you jumpstart creating that foundation, a holistic foundation for the health, the happiness, and the true success that you want. And I'll share with you Patty's story quickly because Patty came to me. She was successful. She was this very successful editor, managerial position. But Patty was also a caretaker. And in her case, she was caretaking for a mom who had Alzheimer's, but also a brother who was diabetic and an amputee, and the brother's son who was an autistic child, diabetic. And she's given me permission to share her story, so I'm not sharing anything that she hasn't granted access to. But Patty came to me and she was very unhappy. She was feeling very burnt out and depleted. And she also had a whole host of health challenges. And she wanted to lose 185 pounds by a certain date so that she could do a photo shoot that she had been planning for like 5 years so that she could seek a promotion. That was the goal that she had when she came. And we started working on things, but she had a lot of challenges because underlying it, she believed that her self-worth was tied to being the caretaker for her family. And that was it, right? She couldn't see a self-concept of herself beyond that. So at that time, I couldn't really help her much with that, but we did a lot of visioning work, and she did a lot of work on herself in that regards. And we worked on her health and we worked on her happiness. And by Christmas 2023, Patty had lost 100 pounds and her blood sugar was down, her blood pressure was normal, cholesterol was down, she was happy. She since then, from the work that she's continued to do, has left her job. She now is following her dream. And this December, I almost put that picture in here. She sent me a picture of her and her new love, right? She's transformed her life, and it started from having a vision. So she did this program with me, and this is what I want to introduce you guys to: Release, Revitalize, and Renew. And it is a program to help break that stress to success cycle. So you can go from feeling stressed and doing the stress eating to really getting that vitality back, feeling revitalized and renewed in just 12 weeks. It's designed, now that I am a women-centered coach and I have the foundation for helping women be able to overcome these limiting beliefs that are unique to women. Men have some of them, but there are many more, especially in the whole self-worthiness area, that are unique to women that sabotage us. So we do mindset work in this. We're doing stress management work in this. With my integrated background in herbalism and in yoga and in energetic arts, I'm introducing you to different techniques that help to calm the nervous system. We work on the body so that we can actually release from the body the toxins and the things that are causing the hormones to be unbalanced, the weight gain, the depletion of your energy, and those other manifestations of inflammation that show up in your body. And it's designed to help you stop guessing at what might work and have you more intuitively and through certain scientific tools be able to pinpoint what foods and also lifestyle practices are causing inflammation in your body and which ones reduce it, right? So it has a triple focus of stress, mindset, and an ageless, that's what I call it, ageless health and vitality, right? And we're setting the foundation for sustainable, irreversible results. So I'm going to kind of go quickly, but I just want to show you, we cover this over 12 weeks. These are some of the actions that we do, and I'm going to put a link in the...
Зайду на этот самый, на Lowe's посмотрю.
Looks like I need to mute. Okay. And so I'm going to have Sonia put a link in the chat, and you can read more about this program. I just want to give you kind of a brief introduction to it. So we ease into the program. We do health assessments. We do visioning in it. We do comprehensive orientation so you feel safe and supported on this transformative journey. We talk about how do we prepare for this? How do you prepare your home? I get you started with something that's very easy, simple to do, right? Then we go to weeks 4 and 6 into the release phase. We go a little bit deeper into the mindset work, and we're starting to look at what are the core barriers for you, and what is like the number one barrier that's stopping you with the health that you really want, right? So we're looking at this outcome, I would say, of health and vitality, of having this ageless vibrancy, this aliveness. And what's the number one thing that's blocking that? Sometimes we have a sense of it, but it's not really that. For me, in doing this work this year, I had to go down 3, 4, 5 levels to really get to what was the core one for me. So we're going to look at that. We're going to do a gentle detox. I talked about preparing your home, and I talked about being able to identify what to eat and what not to eat, but we're going to look at it from an inflammation perspective. So all the achiness, the pains that you're having, the malaise, the lack of energy. And then, of course, when you have medical diagnoses, most of those chronic medical diagnoses are not from aging, they're more from inflammation, right? So we're going to look at all of that. We're going to, week 7 to 9, we're going to revitalize, right? We're going to do more mindset coaching, looking at those barriers and how do we break through them. And then we're going to tie that into how do we stabilize our nervous system? How do we support that even more? And we go into how do we lower the blood sugar, cholesterol, bring more of the hormones in balance, Did you know that all hormones communicate with each other? So if you can identify the core hormone, and it's not our reproductive hormones, there's another one, which when you bring that in balance, automatically helps to bring the others into balance over time. And we're going to talk about how do we build this into our life so that when we travel, when we're on holiday, or anytime we feel like we get off, because remember, as I said, this is not about pie in the sky. We're going to be like this all the time. We're going to go in waves. How do you get back on? How do you jumpstart? And then we renew, right? So we look at some advanced habits, eating habits, and what's a transition plan for consistency, sustainability, and irreversible results. And you may say, irreversible, how in the world does that happen? It happens because we're working on a multi-level basis. We're working on those core beliefs that have been driving you in the past, as well as what I call a growth pathway, where you're learning the new habits and the new skills, the new ways of being that allow you to embody all of this, and it becomes natural to you, right? And when it becomes natural, it's irreversible. So you get all of that, plus you get some herbal supplement support in there. You get all the meal plans, the recipes, the shopping list, you get all the tools, you get everything, right? And I bring my expertise as both a licensed dietitian, well, all my hats, actually. You get the licensed dietitian nutritionist, you get the culinary chef, you get the therapeutic herbalist, you get the women-centered coach, right? Working in ways that are aligned with us as women. And you get a great, 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 great community. So I love all of that. So what would it be worth it to you to be able to wake up and have that energy and vitality, confidence, self-worth, to put yourself in your circle of care? Maybe it's not the front burner, but in your circle of care, to feel like you're actually living, doing what makes you happy, feeling youthful again, like my old self, ageless. Not that we're not aging, we are, but we can feel ageless. Who wants this? Raise your hand, right? So get ready. You can build your foundation, a holistic foundation for this ageless health and vitality. We're going to start Tuesday on March 11th, right? So I'm just starting to have the conversation. If you have questions, today we're kind of running out of time, but if you have questions, feel free to reach out and contact me. Sonia's going to put the link in the chat where you can go for more information. It's already in there. Woo-hoo. Sonia, you're on it. But does anyone have any burning question here? You could? Okay. So, how much does it cost? Nobody had that question, right? So normally for the 12-week program with all of that, it's $2,500 essentially. But for right now, the early bird special, it's only $19.97. And I'm actually throwing in as a bonus a free one-to-one nutrition consultation with it. So you not only get the group program, but you're saving almost $1,000 by having a conversation with me, letting me know that you're interested. I've got several ways of payment. Some people can pay in full. You get a little extra discount for paying in full. I've got a 3-month payment plan that's posted on the site. And I have a resource if you need to stretch out your payments for a year, for 2 years. I have financing options through Stripe that allow you to do that. So there's many ways that you can take advantage of creating this foundation of health so that you can live the life of your dreams and achieve not just that vitality that you're seeking, but that ultimate true success, right? Vitality and fulfillment together. So for your homework, I just want you to pick 3 words that describe how that vision that you started to craft makes you feel. And you can work a little bit more on your vision. And then post a selfie, post you. I love seeing people's faces. And put your 3 words in the comments there, right? And be inspired by somebody else and support somebody else. So today, our winner from yesterday is
Paula.
Paula. Woo, wonderful, Paula. And so for the prize for this day is, Sonia, what's the prize for today?
So technically it's the prize for day 2. So she is getting to pick from that entourage of meal plan options that you have, the whole food plant-based diet, the ketogenic, or the choice of the Mediterranean.
Oh, and that's good for you, Paula, because you've not seen these.
Right, right. Awesome, thank you.
I love it. I love it. So congratulations to Paula. And with that, we are complete. Today was kind of a bonus session to get you just thinking about whether or not what it is that you're striving for in this world today that makes you feel successful is really aligned with you. Or is it part of the root cause of what's causing you to be here today, seeking more, yearning more, right? Where has it gotten us? And to introduce you to a pathway. So with that, I'm going to stop the share. And I'm going to invite you to just bring your hands to your heart once again. Bring your right hand first, the left hand to embrace the right hand, the feminine to embrace the masculine, the yin to embrace the yang. And allow yourself to actually feel the beating of your heart. Feel that aliveness. Connecting the heart to the mind. Connecting the heart to the soul. And from this holistic place, tell yourself, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for listening to that desire for more, that deep, small voice inside. Thank you, self, for all the actions that you've already taken and for your willingness to go further, to listen. And with that, we'll gently open your eyes. Namaste for tonight. Thanks to you all. I talked a lot today. Tomorrow's going to be another group discussion day, right? Another facilitation day. So bring your open heart, your open mind, bring your questions, take a look at the website, bring questions about it. We can talk about it more tomorrow. And with that, enjoy the rest of your evening.